Hey guys, here with another video talking a little bit about the player desks and the reach going into the vault. I've had several people reach out asking for this. I'll be honest, I wanted to show this in my first video, but it's really hard to show the perspective, so I'm going to do the best I can. What I've done is set up several games that I think would be good for the player desk, but then I've also pulled out a bunch of different boards to just kind of show the different size in comparison. Just talking through what games I've got out. I've got Spirit Island, Branch and Claw as well. I've got Terraforming Mars, I've got Everdell, I've got Tapestry, I've also got Scythe out here. So all of these games, I've got the boards overlaid and just pushed to the same corner here, so that way, hopefully, I can give you a good idea when I'm reaching in, kind of how far I'm going to be reaching into the vault. Now, a few more data points. Going from the edge here of the rail all the way to the edge of the desk, this is 7 inches. And going in back from that same point of the rail, going into the edge of the desk, that is also 7 inches. Now, obviously, if you're putting an additional accessory on the rail, you're going to be reaching even further. But that is a 7-inch reach going that way and a 7-inch reach going here for a total of 14 inches over the edge of the entire thing. Now, your feet do tuck in going under, which helps. So if I were to push myself in to an appropriate distance away from the player desk, again, you can see how I've got this set up for Everdell with that 5x3 grid. It does work. Going into the vault and reaching in, I can reach comfortably seated without overextending to about this distance, which again, I know it's really hard to tell, but to give you a perspective on Everdell, this is a little bit of a reach going for the resources, and I'll kind of slide this off so you can kind of see. If I were to actually have the little components here, it would be a little bit of a stretch, and I'm 5'10", again, for perspective. So I can barely reach that. Going for any cards, I would really have to stretch or I'd have to stand up, and now I could actually grab them. So standing up would be required for that. And to give you a perspective how close to the rail on the inside of the table I am, you can kind of see here, I've pulled it everything as close as I possibly can. So as it is, I'd kind of be in an awkward position reaching to put cards in the discard here. Or in a game like Terraforming Mars, putting my tracker for score on the outside. So certain games, this is going to be more appropriate for than others. And again, finding that layout that works for you for setup is going to be half of the battle. And for me, honestly, it's half of the fun. I enjoy finding a setup that works. I'll take a picture, and that way the next time I go to play the game, I have that as a baseline for reminding myself of the time and energy I invested into setting up a game in the vault. And then in comparison, a game like Tapestry, oops, I just moved the board now. That's right about there. A game like Tapestry, I can reach to the far side. Now, this is the 1 to 3 player version. I cannot reach all the way across here without, standing up again. So you're going to be able to reach into about the middle of the boards if you pull them a little bit this way. Now, in comparison to the actual middle of the table, I can extend my hand to about the halfway point if I want. Now, if you were to move in between the desk to this area here or this area in here, you would definitely be able to reach even further. I can definitely reach now all the way to the far side of that board. So depending on how many people you're squeezing around a table, how many player desks you've got, it's not that you can't get around them. I know my wife, who's a little bit shorter than me, she's in the 5'2", 5'3" realm. She definitely struggles to reach into the middle of the vault. So again, someone who's a little bit taller like myself, not an issue. Maybe you can designate a few people to kind of help with reaching. If you're playing a 2-player game, maybe the one person who's a little bit taller, you put the board a little bit closer to them, and that way you can extend here. Even though they're seated over here, they're not going to be able to reach, but that one person can help. And again, it's not like you can't stand up. It's depending on the game, though, and how much you are going to be standing. It's not ideal to be getting up and down over and over again. So now I'm going to just take a moment. I'm going to kind of show you some of the player desk setups like this that I kind of was playing with for different games. So again, this is Everdell. You can see you can fit a 5x3 grid on here with all the cards. In comparison for Scythe, you can very easily see there's tons and tons of room here for putting your player mats down and putting your components. Forgive me, I to save time, did not pull all the little pieces out. I just wanted to show the space. game like Tapestry, you can fit everything that you need here. Depending on how many cards you have down here will depend on whether or not you can squeeze it all in, although you could easily shift things to make it fit a little bit easier. But I did like that you can use the rail for something like this up here. It is one of the uses that I found that actually would work, because it isn't a big deal if everyone sees it. Although in this card's case, you wouldn't be able to then put trackers on here easily, which could be a problem. So depending on which of the cards that you get would depend on whether or not you could put them even in that rail situation. Coming on to the other side here, I've got Wingspan set up. I know I'd kind of previously shown a little bit about the cards going in the rail, and I kind of talked through how that really isn't a good idea. I mean, to give you an idea, I'm sitting here, let's pretend that's my neighbor playing. I can see everything very clearly. So just to give you perspective of one person seated next to another, this is your view that you would have of them. It's very obvious what their cards are. But again, you can fit the full Wingspan player board on here, not a problem. Even if you wanted to slide this down to make room for any cards that are overflow in the end of the board, you can do that. And then one little thing was I was trying to find a way to put the bird feeder slash dice tower, and like putting it on the rail is one option because you have to access it this way. Another thing that I thought about was taking one of these guys and turning it upside down, and you could have a little place to take it off of the rail. You could technically try it this way. It is pretty solid, but it can shift easily. But you can kind of have some fun. This was something that I thought that you could use, though, that it's a flat surface. And if you were to take even two of these, I know I saw someone on the Discord had taken two of these guys, put them next to each other, and then put a P tray on it. And that way you can have the P tray off of the table. I thought that was a really genius idea. And then coming over here, we've got Terraforming Mars. Again, I have the upgraded broken token insert, so it's the same size, but you can kind of get a scale perspective. Now, obviously, with this game, a big variable is how many cards you have in front of you. I do think that this game could be a little bit tougher because of the number of cards. I know some games that I've had have been extensive, and I don't think they would all fit on here. So I think one of the realities is if I had that situation, I might take this guy and pull it off of the mat and maybe even put it on the rail or even put it in the vault. And this might be something that goes in the vault and this not. And that way, you know, you can take and maybe slide this guy down. Oop, let me not knock this off. So if you slide this all the way down, now it's on the end. And you've got this guy in the middle. Forgive me doing all this one-handed. So you could do something like this, or again, putting it in the vault. And now you have access to kind of both things. And if both of you have this freed area in the middle, then you can easily reach into the vault as well. But you can see if I stand up now, and I'll push this one down, kind of how much space you really have on a medium table in between. So you do have a decent amount of space if you push the desks on either extreme for that in-between space for you to kind of reach in and out of the table. I think this would be another great option depending on the game, so that way you have your own player space, you have a little more distance, a little more privacy, and at the same time a nice area to kind of move in between. So even a game like Wingspan, where you've got the trays that are easy to move and not that big or obtrusive, I really do think that this would be a good play choice. Bigger boards like Scythe, I know, for example, we like to use the larger board, not this side, but the other one. That could be very, very difficult to reach the far side of the table for two people, because I know my wife and I are the only ones that normally play together. And so you're going to want to be very mindful of your setups, and hopefully you guys can think of some other games. And if you have questions, I'm happy to kind of, again, make another video, but hopefully these boards can kind of give you scale. Hopefully you have one of them and you can kind of think through, okay, the Scythe board in comparison to maybe the Twilight Imperium setup, how does that scale out? Some of these were just not as practical to pull out, like Twilight Imperium, so forgive me for not pulling that one out, even though I do have it. But I hope you guys found this helpful. Let me know if you have any other questions. Feel free to like, subscribe, and comment, and I will catch you guys again later.